What Keisha whispered to the broken man on that rain-soaked bridge would reveal a connection neither of them remembered. Rain pounds the Chicago bridge at 2 a.m. like bullets against concrete. Through the storm, a young black woman in blood-stained scrubs spots him, a well-dressed white man gripping the steel railing, ready to jump into the churning darkness below. "Sir, please don't!" Keisha calls out, her voice cutting through thunder and wind. He turns slowly, hollow eyes, designer suit soaked through, hands shaking like autumn leaves. "You don't understand what I've done," he chokes out, rain streaming down his face. "I killed my own daughter." But as Keisha steps closer through the storm, something flickers in her memory. The way he protects his left shoulder. The distinctive scar is barely visible on his temple. Her breath catches in her throat. She had no idea she was about to save the same man twice, or that he'd been searching for her for 10 years. But Keisha's own world was crumbling, and she was running out of ways to hold it together. 3 days before the bridge, Mercy General Hospital, 6 p.m. Keisha Washington clocks out after her third straight 16-hour shift. Her CNA uniform tells the story. Blood from a stabbing victim, coffee stains from the only break she managed, tears from comforting a family who lost their father. Her feet scream in shoes held together with duct tape. Her back aches from lifting patients twice her size, but she can't stop. Not when the bills keep coming. The walk home cuts through a neighborhood she barely recognizes. Where corner stores used to sell penny candy, artisanal coffee shops charge $8 for lattes. Where her friends' families lived for generations, luxury condos rise like monuments to displacement. Keisha stops at Carter's Market. Same ritual every night. Count exact change. Buy the cheapest food possible. "Ramen again?" Mrs. Carter asks gently. "Payday's Friday." Keisha counts crumpled bills. $2.37. Mrs. Carter slides an extra pack across the counter. "For your grandmother." "I can't." "You can. You helped my son when he broke his arm. Remember?" Keisha's eyes water. These small kindnesses keep her alive. But kindness doesn't pay mortgages. The Washington house sits under siege. Orange foreclosure notice blazes against faded blue paint like a neon sign of failure. Inside, Grandmother Rosa sleeps fitfully. Cancer medication bottles scattered across the nightstand. $47,000. That's what the bank wants by month's end. 3 generations of memories reduced to a number Keisha will never reach. She checks Rosa's breathing. Steady. Good. The chemo treatments are working, but they've consumed everything. Savings, retirement, dignity. Rosa doesn't know the house is lost. Keisha can't tell her. Won't tell her. Her laptop waits on the kitchen table. Online nursing classes. Due tonight. She's been in school for 2 years, maintaining a 3.8 GPA while working 80-hour weeks. Every professor says she's brilliant. Every scholarship committee says she's not enough. 47 rejection letters, all the same message. Insufficient community involvement. Hard to volunteer when every waking moment is spent fighting financial quicksand. Keisha opens her textbook. Advanced Cardiac Life Support. The irony isn't lost. She's studying to save hearts while her own breaks a little more each day. Her phone buzzes. Text from her supervisor. "Can you pick up Morrison's shift tomorrow? Double pay." Double pay means 16 more hours on her feet, means missing her pharmacology exam, means falling further behind in school. She types back, "Yes." Because what choice does she have? The bathroom mirror reflects a stranger, 26 years old but looking 40. Dark circles under eyes that used to sparkle. Hands cracked from constant washing. Hair pulled back in a bun she hasn't changed in 3 days. 10 years ago, she had dreams, big dreams, medical school, her own practice, helping families like hers navigate the healthcare system that seemed designed to crush them. Now, she just wants to survive until tomorrow. But as she washes her face, Keisha touches something she always wears. A small scar on her right hand. Barely visible now, but she remembers how she got it. 10 years ago, downtown Chicago, a stranger bleeding in an alley. She was just a scared 16-year-old walking home from her first job interview at a nursing home. She could have kept walking, should have kept walking. It was dangerous. She was alone. No one would have blamed her. Instead, she stopped, pressed her jacket against the wound, called for help, stayed until the ambulance came. The man was unconscious by then, but as paramedics loaded him onto the stretcher, he gripped her hand, whispered something she's never forgotten. Angels watch over good people. She gave him her mother's angel pin, the last thing she had of her mom. But he needed it more. He promised to find her, to thank her properly, to help her somehow. Keisha waited. For months, then years. Every knock on the door made her heart race. Maybe today. Maybe he remembered. But rich white men don't keep promises to black girls from the South Side. Still, that night taught her something. Helping people feels better than anything else in the world, even when it costs you, even when it's scary, even when no one notices. That's why she became a nurse. Why does she work herself to death for patients who can't pay? Why does she stop for strangers who look lost? Because someone once told her angels watch over good people, and maybe, if she helps enough people, she'll prove she's good enough to be watched over too. The kitchen clock reads 11 p.m. 4 hours until her next shift. She should sleep. But first, one more scholarship application. Number 48. Why do you want to be a registered nurse? Keisha stares at the blank form, types the truth. Because I believe everyone deserves someone who won't give up on them, even when they've given up on themselves. She hits submit. Another rejection waiting to happen. Outside, rain begins to fall. Tomorrow, she'll take the bridge route home. She always takes the bridge when it rains. Something about the sound of water helps her think. Tomorrow, that decision will change everything. But tonight, she just needs to make it until morning. What Keisha encountered on that bridge would test every instinct she'd learned about saving lives. 3 nights later, the storm hits Chicago like divine punishment. Keisha's umbrella dies 2 blocks from the hospital. Rain soaks through her thin jacket, her scrubs, her resolve. Every step toward home reminds her why she can't afford a car. Why does she walk everywhere? Why is she always cold, wet, and tired? The Millennium Bridge stretches ahead through sheets of rain. She could take the long way around, catch a bus, but that costs money she doesn't have. Lightning splits the sky. Thunder follows instantly. The storm's directly overhead. She should find shelter. Wait it out. Instead, she hurries forward. Home. Rosa's medication. 4 hours of sleep before the next shift. Halfway across the bridge, she sees him, a figure at the railing. Motionless. Wrong. Keisha's nursing training kicks in like muscle memory. She's seen this stance before in the ER, the way someone stands when they've made their final decision. Too still, too focused on the water below. Her exhausted legs find new energy. She approaches carefully, hands visible, voice steady despite her racing heart. "Sir, are you okay?" He doesn't turn. Up close, the details hit her like physical blows. Expensive overcoat soaked through. Italian leather shoes, now worthless, a Rolex catching lightning flashes, manicured hands that have never known manual labor. Everything screams wealth and privilege, everything except his eyes. "Please don't come any closer," he says quietly. Rain streams down his face like tears. "I don't want anyone else to get hurt." Keisha stops 10 feet away, close enough to grab him, far enough to not seem threatening. "What's your name?" He laughs, bitter, broken. "Does it matter? By tomorrow it'll be worthless anyway." Through the rain, she hears him whisper the same word over and over. "Emma, Emma, Emma." "Who's Emma?" Keisha asks gently. His shoulders shake, not from the cold, from something deeper. "My daughter. It was my daughter." The pieces click, the guilt in his posture, the way he grips the railing like it's the only thing keeping him upright. "What happened?" "I killed her." The words come out flat, matter of fact, like he's been practicing them. 3 weeks ago. Car accident. I was driving, texting, important business call. Lightning illuminates his face, hollow cheeks, eyes that have seen too much pain. When he speaks again, his voice breaks completely. "She was telling me about her school play, Romeo and Juliet. She got the lead, Juliet. She was so excited, and I was talking about quarterly projections." The storm intensifies. Wind gusts threaten to push them both off balance. Keisha realizes she's not just fighting to save his life. She's risking her own. "Red light," he continues. "I didn't see it. A truck came through the intersection, hit Emma's side of the car. She died instantly, while I walked away without a scratch." "I'm sorry," Keisha says, meaning it. "My wife, ex-wife now, she was right. Emma died because work was more important than family to you. That's what she said at the hospital. Last words she'll ever speak to me." Rain pounds the bridge like bullets. Each drop feels like an accusation. I wasn't even allowed at the funeral, he whispers. My own daughter's funeral. Sarah had security remove me, said I didn't deserve to say goodbye. Keisha inches closer. Something about his profile nags at her memory. The way he protects his left shoulder, the scar on his temple, barely visible but distinctive. She's seen that face before, but where? When? I've destroyed everything I touched, he continues. My marriage, my daughter, my company's probably next. Everything turns to poison in my hands. Security lights begin sweeping the bridge. If they're spotted, emergency responders will swarm. This intimate moment will become a circus. What's your name? Keisha asks again. Robert Daniels. The name means nothing to her, but something about the way he stands, the way he favors that shoulder, tugs at memories she can't quite reach. Robert, I'm Keisha, and I need you to listen very carefully. He turns slightly, the first real acknowledgement of her presence. I work in the ER. I've seen parents lose children. I held them while they screamed, while they blamed themselves, while they begged for one more chance to make things right. Lightning strikes close enough to feel the electricity in the air. You want to know what every single one of them would give anything for? What do you still have that they don't? What? Time. You're still here. Emma's not, but you are. And that means you can still honor her memory. You can still make her death mean something. Wind whips across the bridge. The storm's getting worse. How? Robert's voice is barely audible above the thunder. By living the way she would want you to live, with purpose, with attention to what matters. Don't waste the gift she can never have again. For the first time, his grip on the railing loosens slightly. But the storm's just getting started. What Keisha said next came from her own deepest pain, and it would change everything. The storm reaches its fury. Wind howls across the bridge like a living thing. Robert's expensive coat whips around him as he stares into the churning water below. You don't understand, he shouts over the thunder. I'm a monster! I killed my own child because I couldn't put down my phone for 5 minutes. Keisha steps into the storm's teeth. Rain slams into her face, but she doesn't flinch. I understand more than you know. She moves closer, one careful step, then another. I told you I work in the ER. What I didn't tell you is why I became a nurse. Lightning splits the sky. In the flash, Robert sees her clearly, young, exhausted, soaked to the bone. Everything about her screams poverty and struggle, yet here she stands in a dangerous storm, trying to save a stranger. When I was 16, my mama had a heart attack. Suddenly. No warning. Keisha's voice cuts through wind and rain. I was supposed to be home that night. Always came straight home from work, but my boss offered me overtime. Extra 4 hours, $28. She's close enough now to see the pain etched in Robert's face. $28 felt like a fortune to us. So I stayed, cleaned offices until midnight while Mama collapsed alone in our kitchen. Robert's grip on the railing loosens fractionally. That's different, is it? I chose money over family, too. Just $28 instead of millions. Rain streams down both their faces. Thunder crashes overhead. When I got home, she was already gone, cold. The paramedics said if someone had called 911 even an hour earlier, Keisha's voice breaks. She died alone because her daughter chose overtime pay. For the first time, Robert turns to face her completely. For months, I wanted to die. Guilt ate me alive. Every night I stood on this exact bridge thinking about jumping, thinking about how much easier it would be than living with what I'd done. What stopped you? Keisha removes her thin jacket despite the freezing rain. Steps closer, offering it to him. You're shivering. Hypothermia makes everything worse. He stares in disbelief. This woman, clearly poor, clearly struggling, offering her only protection to a stranger. Why would you? You'll freeze. I'll be fine. She pulls her thermos from her backpack. Hospital coffee, saved from her only break in 16 hours. She pours it into the cap, steam rising in the cold air. Here, you need this more than I do. The gesture breaks something inside him. His death grip on the railing wavers. None of us deserve the kindness we get, Keisha says simply. But we get it anyway. That's what makes it grace. Robert's hands shake as he accepts the warm cup. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. I know enough. I know you're in pain. I know you loved Emma so much that losing her makes you want to die, and I know that kind of love is worth preserving. Wind gusts threatened to knock them both over, the storm's at its peak. What stopped you? Robert asks again. On this bridge, what made you choose to live? A stranger. Keisha's voice grows soft. 10 years ago, I saved someone's life. A man who'd been stabbed, bleeding out in an alley. As she speaks, Robert unconsciously favors his left shoulder, protects an old wound. I was just a scared kid. Could have kept walking. Should have kept walking, but something made me stop. Please help me. What did he say? Robert's voice is strange now, distant. He said angels watch over good people, gave me something to live for, a purpose. Lightning illuminates Robert's face. For a split second, recognition flickers. That's when I knew Mama didn't die because I chose money. She died because hearts sometimes stop, but I could choose what to do with the guilt, carry it like poison or transform it into something good. Robert sets down the coffee cup. His voice trembles. The man you saved. What did he look like? Why? Just, please. Keisha studies his face in the lightning flashes. Something familiar in his features. Tall, white, business suit, even bleeding, had this scar on his temple. She points to the exact spot where Robert's scar sits. And he protected his left shoulder like it hurt. Robert's breath catches. What did you give him? My mama's angel pin, silver, about this big. She shows him with her fingers. Told him angels watch over good people. With shaking hands, Robert reaches into his pocket, pulls out a small silver angel pin, holds it up between them. Keisha's world stops. That's impossible. 10 years ago, Robert whispers. Downtown alley. 3 men stabbed me and left me to die. You're him. Keisha's knees nearly buckle. You're the man I saved. And you're my angel, the girl I've been looking for. Rain pounds around them, but neither notices anymore. I searched for you, Robert says urgently. Hired investigators, checked every hospital record. You just disappeared. We moved 6 months later. The landlord raised the rent. I've carried this pin every day for 10 years, every single day. It's been my reminder that good people exist, that someone cared enough to save a stranger. Thunder crashes, but they're in their own bubble now. You saved me twice, Robert realizes. Once in that alley, now here. And you saved me too. Keisha's voice fills with wonder. That night changed everything, made me want to be a nurse, made me believe helping people was worth the risk. A massive wind gust catches Robert off balance. His feet slip on wet concrete. For a terrifying moment, he teeters toward the edge. Keisha lunges forward, grabs his arm, pulls him back from the brink. They collapse against the railing together, hearts pounding, rain streaming down their faces. I've got you, she says. I've got you. Emma would have loved you, Robert whispers. She always believed in guardian angels. Said they looked like regular people but showed up exactly when you needed them most. Then let's prove she was right. Let's live like people worthy of angel protection. How? Together. You help me figure out how to save my family's house. I help you figure out how to honor Emma's memory. We're connected, Robert. I have been for 10 years. Maybe it's time we stopped fighting that connection. Slowly, carefully, Keisha guides him away from the railing toward the covered bus stop. She doesn't let go of his arm. Angels watch over good people, she says softly. Angels watch over good people, Robert repeats. For the first time in 3 weeks, he's not thinking about dying. He's thinking about living. But Robert's offer would reveal just how desperate Keisha's situation really was, and how impossible her choice. At the covered bus stop, they sit in stunned silence. The storm rages around them, but inside this small shelter, the world feels different. Changed. Robert stares at the angel pin in his palm. 10 years of searching, 10 years of wondering, and she'd been here all along, saving lives, working herself to death, struggling to survive. I can't believe it's really you. His voice carries wonder and disbelief. I've thought about you every single day. Keisha touches the small scar on her right hand. I never forgot either. You were my first save. The moment I knew I wanted to be a nurse. Your first save, Robert repeats softly. And now my second. They watch lightning illuminate the empty bridge, the place where everything almost ended, the place where everything began again. I should call someone, Robert says finally. My therapist, my lawyer. Let them know I'm That I'm okay. Call whoever you need, but first, Keisha hesitates. Tell me about Emma. Really tell me, what was she like? Robert's face transforms, pain mixed with love. Brilliant, stubborn. She wanted to change the world. He pulls out his phone, shows Keisha a photo. This was her last birthday. 17 candles. She made me promise to see her play. The girl in the photo has Robert's eyes, but radiates pure joy. She looks happy. She was, right up until... His voice breaks. The last thing she said to me was, "Dad, you're going to love this scene." She was practicing her lines, and I was talking about some merger that doesn't even matter now. She knew you loved her, Robert. Did she? I missed so many school events, so many dinners, always chasing the next deal, the next acquisition. He looks at Keisha. You saved me from becoming a murderer and a suicide. That's a debt I can never repay. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. Robert reaches for his wallet with sudden urgency. Let me give you something, anything, cash, credit cards. I can transfer money right now. No. Keisha's response is immediate and firm. But you must need, you're walking in storms, working night shifts. I said no. She stands up, shouldering her damp backpack. Robert stares in bewilderment. I don't understand. Everyone wants something from me. Money, connections, business favors. What do you want? I want you to live. I want you to figure out how to honor Emma's memory without destroying yourself. I want you to remember that your life has value beyond the mistakes you've made. That's it? That's everything. As Robert puts his wallet away, several items scatter across the bench. Business cards, receipts, and something that stops Keisha's heart. A small hospital bracelet from 10 years ago. The one they'd cut off his wrist after surgery. You kept it? I kept everything from that night. The bracelet, the clothes I was wearing, even the bloody handkerchief you used to stop the bleeding. Robert gathers the items carefully. For 10 years, they've been my proof that angels exist. I'm not an angel. I'm just someone who can't walk past when people need help. Same thing, Robert says softly. Keisha checks her phone, 3:47 a.m. I need to get home. My grandmother will worry. Wait. Robert stands too. How can I find you? To thank you properly? To help you somehow? You already helped me. 10 years ago, you taught me that good people exist, that saving someone is worth the risk. That philosophy has carried me through every hard day since. Please, let me do something. Anything. Live, Robert. Live like Emma would want you to live, with purpose, with attention to the people who matter. Don't throw away what she can never have again. As Keisha walks toward the bridge exit, Robert calls out, What if I told you I could solve all your problems, the house, the medical bills, everything? She stops, but doesn't turn around. Then I'd say you still don't understand why I helped you. Why did you help me? Because someone once told me that angels watch over good people and good people help each other. No payment required. Rain pounds the shelter roof as Robert watches her disappear into the storm. He sits back down, holding the angel pin, understanding for the first time what true goodness looks like. It looks like a tired nurse walking into a hurricane to save a stranger. It looks like refusing a fortune because accepting it would diminish the gift. It looks like believing in angels even when you can barely afford to eat. Tomorrow he'll find her again. Tomorrow he'll show her that some debts are too important to remain unpaid. But tonight, she's given him the most valuable thing in the world, a reason to see tomorrow. But as Robert sat alone with the angel pin, memories began to surface that would change everything. The next morning, Robert sits in his empty penthouse office. Boxes everywhere. Lawyers whispering in corners about damage control, but he can't focus on any of it. He stares at the angel pin, turning it over in his fingers. For 10 years, it's been his talisman, his proof that goodness exists. But now it feels different, heavier, like it's carrying the weight of destiny. His assistant brings coffee, notices the pin. Still carrying that old thing, sir? It's not old, it's sacred. Robert opens his computer for the first time in weeks. Types, Keisha Washington, Chicago nurse. Nothing useful comes up. He tries Washington family, Southside Chicago. Still nothing that helps. But wait. He opens his desk drawer, pulls out a folder he's kept for a decade. the private investigation files from his search, page after page of dead ends. Keisha, approximately 16, African-American South Side. Now he has new information. She's 26 now, works at Mercy General, lives somewhere that walking to the bridge makes sense. His fingers shake as he pulls out the hospital records from that night 10 years ago. There, buried in the emergency contact information, an address. Patient emergency contact called from 1247 West 47th Street. Robert's heart pounds. She gave them her home address when she called 911. He grabs his keys. 20 minutes later, he's driving through a neighborhood where medical transport vans outnumber luxury cars. The address leads to a modest blue house with something that makes his chest tighten. A foreclosure notice blazing orange against the door. She's losing her home. Robert parks across the street. Through the window, he sees movement. An elderly black woman with a walker. She comes outside to check the mail, sees the foreclosure notice, and sinks onto the front steps. Everything clicks into place. The woman he saved twice is losing everything. While he sits in his penthouse, drowning in guilt and self-pity, his angel is fighting to keep her family together. Robert remembers something else from that night 10 years ago. The paramedic mentioned that the girl who called 911 had refused to give her full name. Said she didn't want any trouble, just wanted to make sure the man lived. No wonder he couldn't find her. She'd protected her identity, even while saving his life. His phone buzzes. Text from his lawyer. Board meeting moved to tomorrow. They want to discuss your mental state. Robert deletes the message. For the first time in 3 weeks, he has clarity. Purpose. He's going to save Keisha Washington the way she saved him. Twice. But first, he needs to understand exactly what he's dealing with. How bad are the medical bills? How much does she owe? What would it take to give her the life she deserves? Robert starts making calls. By sunset, he'll know everything about Keisha's situation. By tomorrow, he'll have a plan to change her life forever. She saved him twice. Now it's his turn. When Robert arrived at the address, he discovered a truth that would shatter everything he thought he knew about chance encounters. The next afternoon, Robert sits outside 1247 West 47th Street in his Mercedes, heart hammering against his ribs. He spent the morning gathering intelligence. Hospital records, property documents, credit reports, everything he needs to understand Keisha's situation. The numbers are devastating. $47,000 owed to the bank, $63,000 in medical debt. Student loans approaching 6 figures. A woman working 80 hours a week who can't afford to buy groceries. But it's not the money that brought him here. It's certain that she's the same girl who saved him 10 years ago. The same angel he's been searching for. Now he just needs to prove it. An elderly black woman emerges from the house, moving slowly with a walker. Robert's breath catches. He recognizes her. Same worried eyes, same protective posture. She was in the hospital waiting room that night, pacing frantically while surgeons stitched him back together. This is the moment of truth. Robert gets out of his car. "Excuse me, ma'am." The woman, Rosa Washington, according to his research, looks up suspiciously. "Can I help you? Are you Keisha Washington's grandmother?" Her suspicion deepens. "Who's asking?" "My name is Robert Daniels. 10 years ago, your granddaughter saved my life. And 3 nights ago, she saved it again." Rosa's eyes widened with sudden recognition. She grabs her walker for support. "Sweet Jesus, you're the man from the alley. You remember? Remember? Child, I spent 6 hours in that emergency room waiting to make sure you lived. Keisha was covered in your blood, scared out of her mind, but she wouldn't leave until the doctor said you were okay." Robert's throat tightens. "I tried to find her. I hired investigators. We moved." Rosa's voice carries old pain. "The landlord doubled the rent 2 months after that happened. Keisha always wondered if that's why you never came back. Broke her heart thinking you forgot about her." "I never forgot, not for a single day." Rosa studies his face carefully. "You look different, older, sadder." "I lost my daughter 3 weeks ago. Car accident. I was going to jump off the Millennium Bridge when Keisha found me. And she talked you down. She saved me, again, without knowing who I was." Rosa sets down her walker and really looks at Robert. "So you know she's been waiting for you." "Waiting. Every year on the anniversary, she writes you a letter. Never mails them, but she writes them. telling you about nursing school, about her dreams, about how that night changed her life. Robert feels like he's been punched. She still writes to me? Come inside, Rosa says quietly. There's something you need to see. The Washington house is small but immaculate. Medical equipment in one corner, oxygen tank, wheelchair, pill organizer, photos everywhere of Keisha at different ages. Graduation from nursing assistant program, awards for perfect attendance, always smiling despite the struggle. Rosa disappears into a bedroom, returns with a shoebox. Keisha doesn't know I kept these. Inside are 10 letters, one for each year, all addressed to Robert Daniels, the Angel Man. With trembling fingers, Robert opens the most recent. Dear Robert, 10 years ago today, you changed my life. Not just because you needed help, but because helping you showed me who I wanted to become. I'm a nurse now, like I always dreamed. Every day I help people who are scared and hurt and desperate. Every time I save someone, I think about you and hope you're living a good life. I still carry the scar from that night, on my right hand where I cut myself trying to stop your bleeding. But it's a good scar. It reminds me that love sometimes means risking everything for strangers. I hope you remember that angels watch over good people, because you taught me that good people help each other, no matter what it costs. Your friend always, Keisha Roberts' vision blurs. She's been thinking about me all this time. Every single day, Rosa confirms. That night changed everything for her, made her believe in purpose, made her want to save people. I need to help her. The house, the medical bills, I can fix all of it. Rosa's expression grows cautious. Why would you do that? Because she saved my life twice. Because she's exactly the kind of person who deserves good things to happen to her. Because... Robert's voice breaks. Because my daughter died believing in guardian angels, and Keisha is proof that Emma was right. What did you have in mind? Robert pulls out a folder of documents. I run a crisis intervention foundation. We help people in desperate situations, financial, medical, emotional. I want to hire Keisha to lead our field operations. Charity? No. A job. A real job that pays what she's worth. Someone who can talk suicidal billionaires off bridges, who saves strangers without thinking about the cost. That's exactly what people in crisis need. Rosa opens the folder, scans the job description and salary figures. Her eyes widen. This is more money than she's ever dreamed of. It's not enough. It'll never be enough to repay what she's given me. But it's a start. There's something else you should know, Rosa says quietly. Something that makes this even more... I don't know what to call it. Destiny? What? That night 10 years ago? Keisha almost didn't take that route home. She usually took the bus, but her boss had paid her in cash, first time ever, and she was so excited about having money for nursing books that she decided to walk. I wanted to stop at the bookstore. Robert's blood runs cold. If she'd taken the bus, you'd have died in that alley, and my granddaughter would never have found her calling. The weight of it hits him. Every choice, every moment, every decision led to this. Emma's death brought him to that bridge. Keisha's kindness saved him there. Their connection spans a decade of mutual salvation. She's getting off work in 2 hours, Rosa says. You should be here when she comes home. What if she doesn't want my help? Then you'll have to convince her that some debts are too important to remain unpaid. When Robert made his offer, Keisha thought it was a cruel joke, until she realized how serious he was. 4:47 p.m. Keisha drags herself up the front walkway after another brutal double shift. Her scrubs are stained with coffee and exhaustion. Her feet scream in shoes that should have been replaced months ago. She barely notices the expensive car in her driveway. Too tired to process anything beyond the basics. Home, shower, 4 hours of sleep before the next shift. Then she sees them. Her grandmother Rosa sitting on the front porch in her wheelchair, talking animatedly with a well-dressed white man. As Keisha gets closer, recognition hits like a lightning bolt. Robert? He turns, and in daylight, clean and composed, she sees him completely differently. This is what he looked like before grief broke him, before guilt tried to kill him. But there's something else, something familiar about his features that goes deeper than 3 nights ago. Hello, Keisha. How did you find my house? Robert reaches into his pocket and pulls out something that makes her world stop spinning. A small silver angel pin, her mother's pin. You gave this to me 10 years ago, in an alley downtown, when you were 16 and I was bleeding to death from stab wounds. The memories crash over her like a physical force. The scared businessman. The pool of blood. Her hands were shaking as she called 911, pressing her mother's angel pin into his palm as paramedics loaded him onto the stretcher. Oh my God! Keisha's knees buckle. She grabs the porch railing for support. It was you. You saved my life twice, Keisha, and I've been looking for you for 10 years. She sinks onto the porch steps, overwhelmed. This can't be real. Your grandmother's been showing me your letters every year, the ones you wrote to the angel man. Tears stream down Keisha's face. I thought you forgot about me. I waited so long. I never stopped searching, never stopped carrying this. He holds up the angel pin. You were my proof that good people exist, that someone cared enough to save a stranger. Why are you here now? Robert sits beside her, careful to maintain respectful distance. Because I owe you a debt I can never fully repay, but I want to try. He pulls out a folder of official documents. I run the Daniels Crisis Intervention Foundation. We help people in desperate situations, financial, medical, emotional, people like the man you saved on that bridge 3 nights ago. Keisha stares at him in confusion. I don't understand. I'm offering you a job. Director of Crisis Response, starting salary $75,000 annually, full health benefits that will cover your grandmother's treatments, plus a signing bonus. What kind of signing bonus? Robert hands her a check. Keisha looks at the amount and nearly faints. $50,000, enough to pay off this house and give you a fresh start. You're insane. I'm completely serious. But there's more. Robert pulls out additional documents. Full tuition coverage for any nursing program you choose, Johns Hopkins, Northwestern, anywhere, plus housing allowance and education stipend. Keisha shakes her head violently. This is too much. People don't just give away this kind of money. They do when someone saves their life twice. I don't have business experience. You have something more valuable than any degree or certification. Robert interrupts. You have the instinct to save people, even when it costs you everything. You talked a suicidal billionaire off a bridge. You bled your own blood trying to save a stranger in an alley. That's exactly what people in crisis need. He shows her the foundation's work. Testimonials from people they've saved, statistics on lives changed, photos of families reunited. These are the people who need someone like you. Someone who understands what desperation feels like. Someone who never gives up hope, even when they're drowning. Why would you trust me with this? Because 3 nights ago, you could have walked past a broken man on a bridge. Instead, you risked your life to save his. You refused money, refused recognition, refused everything except the knowledge that you'd helped someone. Robert's voice grows emotional. Because 10 years ago, a 16-year-old girl could have ignored a bleeding stranger in a dangerous alley. Instead, she gave him her most precious possession and taught him that angels exist. Keisha looks at the paperwork, at the impossible numbers, at her grandmother's hopeful face. What would I actually do? Lead a team of crisis responders. Train them to handle situations like suicide attempts, domestic violence, medical emergencies where people can't afford help. Be the voice of hope for people who've lost everything. This isn't charity, Keisha. This is justice. You've been doing this work your whole life, saving people, helping strangers, putting others before yourself. It's time someone gave you the resources and recognition you deserve. The offer is overwhelming. Financial security, purpose, the ability to help others professionally while saving her own family. There's one more thing, Robert says quietly. He pulls out a final document. I want to establish a scholarship program in your mother's name, the Angela Washington Memorial Fund for students pursuing careers in emergency medicine. Keisha begins to cry. How do you know my mother's name? You told me about her that night 10 years ago. How she taught you to help people. How she wore an angel pin because she believed good people had guardian angels. Robert holds up the pin she gave him. She was right. When would I start? Tomorrow if you want. We have an office ready, a team to train, and crisis calls coming in every day. Keisha stares at the business card Robert hands her. Keisha Washington, Director of Crisis Response, Daniels Foundation. I had these made after reading your letters. I knew then that finding you wasn't just about thanking you. It was about completing something that started 10 years ago. Through her tears, Keisha looks at her grandmother's relieved face, at the foreclosure notice that will soon come down, at the chance to transform her life while helping countless others. "Say yes," Robert whispers. "Let me help you the way you helped me." Yes, God, yes. But what happened next proved that one bridge conversation could create ripples across thousands of lives. 6 months later, the transformation is undeniable. The Daniels Crisis Intervention Foundation operates from a renovated community center in Keisha's old neighborhood. Not a sterile corporate office, but a warm space where desperate people feel welcome. The lobby displays photos of successful interventions, and in the center, a memorial wall for Emma Daniels, in memory of a girl who believed in guardian angels. Keisha Washington stands before a team of 12 crisis responders, reviewing the day's cases. Her exhausted desperation has transformed into purposeful energy. The foreclosure notice has been replaced by a small plaque. The Washington family home, preserved by love. "Remember," she tells her team, "we don't just prevent immediate harm. We address root causes. We give people hope and tools to rebuild." The numbers tell the story. 847 crisis interventions with a 94% success rate, 23 suicide attempts prevented, 156 families kept in their homes through emergency financial assistance, 67 domestic violence victims safely relocated, 12 new crisis response centers opened across the Midwest. Media coverage crescendos. CNN runs a special segment, "Former Night Shift Nurse Revolutionizes Crisis Response." Chicago Tribune features a front-page story. "The Woman Who Saves Lives Twice, Keisha Washington's Journey from Poverty to Purpose." 60 Minutes airs a segment called "Angels in Crisis," featuring Keisha and Robert's story. The video goes viral, 15 million views in 3 days. Real people, real transformations. Maria Santos, 34, mother of 3, sits in the foundation's conference room. "I was about to lose my house after my husband's accident. Keisha didn't just pay our mortgage. She helped me get trained as a crisis counselor. Now I help other families like mine." David Carter, 18, suicide survivor turned Northwestern freshman, speaks at a high school assembly. "When I called the crisis line, Keisha talked to me for 3 hours. She saved my life. Now I'm studying social work because I want to be like her." Dr. Jennifer Kim, pediatric psychiatrist, testifies before Congress. "The Washington model should be the standard for all crisis response. They've reduced repeat emergency calls by 78% in communities where they operate. The ripple effect spreads nationally." Other foundations adopt the Washington model of crisis response. Medical schools add crisis intervention to their curricula. Police departments request joint training programs. Congress considers legislation requiring crisis response training for all first responders. International recognition arrives. The United Nations honors the foundation as a model for crisis response. Keisha receives the Presidential Medal for Outstanding Public Service. Harvard Business School creates a case study, Crisis Leadership in Nonprofit Organizations. The Angel Pin movement goes global. Crisis responders worldwide begin wearing silver angel pins to identify themselves to people in need. The symbol spreads through social media. #Angel Pin Challenge trends as people share stories of helping strangers. Community celebration. Keisha's old neighborhood hosts Angel Day, a festival celebrating second chances. Mrs. Carter from the corner store serves free food to hundreds. Rosa Washington, now cancer-free thanks to access to cutting-edge treatment, cuts the ribbon on a new crisis response training center. Professional recognition pours in. Time magazine names Keisha to 100 most influential people. She delivers a TED Talk. The Angel Pin Philosophy, How Saving Others Saves Ourselves. 12 million views and counting. Forbes interviews Robert. "Keisha taught me that saving someone isn't a one-time event. It's a commitment to helping them build a life worth living." Scientific validation emerges. University of Chicago study finds that foundation interventions reduce repeat crisis calls by 78% compared to traditional emergency response. The human connection model becomes the gold standard. Emergency rooms in foundation cities report 40% fewer suicide-related admissions. Healthcare costs drop $15 million annually due to preventive intervention. The larger transformation, what started as one woman's act of kindness, became a national movement. Crisis response that once relied solely on police and emergency rooms now includes trained peer counselors and community advocates. 230 new jobs created in the crisis response field. 1,200 volunteers trained using Keisha's methods. 50% reduction in suicide rates in communities with foundation programs. Full circle moment. At the 18-month anniversary celebration, Keisha addresses 3,000 people. Families they've helped, staff they've trained, politicians they've influenced. Robert sits in the front row wearing his angel pin. 18 months ago, I was counting coins for ramen while working myself to death. Tonight, I stand before you to prove that when we choose to help each other, miracles become ordinary. The camera pans across transformed faces. People alive because of crisis intervention, families stable because of emergency assistance, communities safer because someone decided every life is worth saving. Sophia Martinez, 20, former crisis caller turned foundation volunteer, speaks last. Keisha showed me that angels don't have wings. They have courage, they have compassion, and they show up exactly when you need them most. One bridge conversation changed everything. But the most profound moment was yet to come, one that would show the true meaning of what they'd built together. 3 years later, the anniversary tradition. Every year on the anniversary of their bridge encounter, Keisha and Robert meet at the same spot, not to commemorate darkness, but to celebrate how far light can travel. This year is different. They're joined by 47 people whose lives were saved through their crisis intervention program. Among them stands Sophia Martinez, 20, who called the crisis line 3 years ago on the verge of suicide after family rejection. Today, she's a junior at Northwestern, training to become a crisis counselor. Keisha talked me through the worst night of my life. Now I want to be that voice for someone else. The tradition has evolved. Robert walks this bridge monthly now, not because he's struggling, but because he's learned that people in crisis appear when you're paying attention. Last month, he helped a veteran having flashbacks. 2 weeks ago, a teenage mother was fleeing domestic violence. Each time, he carries the lesson Keisha taught him. Genuine presence can heal the deepest wounds. Keisha's continued growth. She now oversees crisis response programs in 18 states. Universities offer her department chairs. The Red Cross wants her as their director. She turns them all down. You can't lead people through a crisis from an ivory tower, she says. This work requires getting your hands dirty, your heart broken, your hope renewed every single day. The surprise announcement. As the anniversary group stands together, Robert makes an unexpected announcement. The Daniels Foundation is donating $100 million to create a national crisis response network, with Keisha as executive director. But there's one condition. He pulls out a small velvet box containing 47 silver angel pins. I want everyone here to carry these, not as jewelry, but as reminders that you're someone's angel and they're yours. The Angel Pin Legacy. As each person receives their pin, they share how the foundation changed their trajectory. The pattern emerges. People saved from crisis become crisis savers themselves, creating an endless chain of rescue and redemption. The final callback. Keisha touches her original angel pin, her mother's gift that traveled through time, through trauma, through transformation. My mama always said angels appear when people need them most. What I learned is that we don't wait for angels, we become them. The lasting image. The camera pulls back to show the bridge, no longer a site of potential tragedy, but a symbol of transformation. A new memorial plaque reads, Emma Daniels Memorial Bridge, where angels are born. Below it, a QR code links to the 24-hour crisis hotline, ensuring anyone needing an angel can find one. The bridge where two broken people found each other now connects thousands to hope. Sometimes saving someone else is exactly how you save the world. 3 words changed everything that night. Please don't jump. 7 more words created a movement. Angels watch over good people like you. Keisha's choice to stop for a stranger didn't just prevent one suicide, it sparked a revolution that has saved thousands of lives across 18 states. But here's the truth that will change your perspective forever. You don't need a foundation, special training, or endless resources to be someone's angel. You just need to pay attention to the coworker who's been unusually quiet, the neighbor whose mail is piling up, the stranger on the bus who looks lost in their own despair. Sometimes the most powerful intervention is simply asking, "Are you okay?" and meaning it with your whole heart. If this story moved you, think about who in your world might need an angel right now. Be that person today. Share this story if you believe in the ripple effect of kindness. Like if you've ever been saved by a stranger's compassion, because every day on bridges everywhere, angels are waiting to be born. Will you be one?